Hey, the Washington Commanders are showing you they not afraid to make some risky moves. Whether it's going out and starting Chris Paul at guard or signing safety Darnell Savage, they're showing you they're willing to do it all, even being risky. Let's talk about it.
Shout out to Juan Gotti Talking Sports. You know what it is.
Shout out Juan Gotti Talking Sports.
The way that we live is not for everybody.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
How do you think the rest of Jaden Daniels' career is going to go? If we're, 6, 7 games into Jaden Daniels' career and he's already milking injuries, like...
Stop saying my name, you dick riding bastard.
So I wanted to first come on and talk about Chris Paul because, as we know, last week Brandon Coleman in the Packers game was not that good. Quite frankly, the whole offensive line wasn't that good. But something had to pop up on film specifically about Brandon Coleman to have made him inactive, a healthy scratch. Not just he was benched, not he was suited up and he was just pulled. He was made inactive, and that was such a shocker. I for sure thought something was going on with him. I said, oh, it had to be a shoulder. I thought I read something saying it was a shoulder and it was a game time decision or something like that. But then when they asked about why didn't he play in the press conference post game, they said competition. DQ cited competition. And then when you go out there and you look at how good the offensive line performed, you're like, well, maybe the combination of Wiley and Chris Paul is better. And you know what's crazy about Chris Paul is when we talk about this guard depth, I feel like a lot of us overlook him, including myself. I never thought if Chris Paul had to come in, that's a good thing for us. I always feel like this is the last line of depth that we had. But to them, they're like, he's the next man up. He's the next man up behind Brandon Coleman. Now, obviously, with the injury of Sam Cosmi, things probably would be a little bit different depending on the depth and whatnot. But, man, we got to give Chris Paul some flowers, dog. We got to give him his flowers. He played a hell of a game on Sunday. And I'm like, whoa, this is a risky move by Washington. Let's talk about it. You see the title of the video? It's a risky move. Now, Juan, why is this a risky move? You say, well, first of all, Chris Paul having to start on the fly. Now, they probably had this in their mind, having the whole kind of extra days off from the Packers game. So maybe they've been thinking about this, but I'm not sure if they alluded Chris Paul early on in the week. So he had to now prepare as the starter, had to prepare to be kind of thrown in there. You know, new combination of guard, right? He's next to Talabiadish and obviously Andrew Wiley. And then with Chris Paul, again, he's never been looked at as a guy that has been a starter for us. So Washington making a risky move, risky change, seeming like it paid off. Now, we'll see how he fares against teams like Atlanta, who has a really good defensive line, or at least they put on a good showing on Sunday Night Football against the Vikings a few weeks ago. And then you got the Chargers, who has some really good interior guys as well. But hey, maybe Chris Paul is it, man. Maybe he's it. Now listen to this stat line from Sunday against the Las Vegas Raiders. Commanders Chris Paul took advantage of all his opportunities today. 26 pass protection snaps. He allowed 0 pressures. He allowed 0 hurries. He allowed 0 QB hits and 0 sacks, ranking him 87.8 in his pass pro efficiency grade. Man, on who that's not some good news right there. I feel like Chris Paul, his big thing was being able to move. Right? We know he's stout, we know he's strong at the point of attack, but can he get out in space? Can he move? Seemed like he was able to do that on Sunday. Seemed like he was having some really good success on Sunday. And maybe that's who needs to be in there. Especially when 5 comes back. When we drop back the pass, when we try to run these play actions, when we have 3, 4, 5 seconds in the pocket, Maybe it's Chris Paul that needs to be in there. I know a lot of y'all always felt like Wiley should have been the starter instead of Nick Algretti. But I was always an Algretti guy. I felt like Algretti was pretty good. But considering the fact that, Wiley is very, very serviceable. He showed us last year he's damn good. I'm like, okay, let's go with Wiley. Why not? They preach competition. I love that they're not sitting on their hands and just rocking with whoever. They're like, nah, we're going to mix this thing up. We're going to mix this thing up. And Chris Paul goes out there and has his best game as a starter. And quite frankly, probably earned himself another week as the starting guard. Along with Andrew Wiley. Have that thought crossed your mind, y'all? Let me know in the comment section. Like, I don't know if we really thought about Chris Paul being one of the starting guards. Before we get any further into today's video, I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, SeatGeek. If you're trying to go to a game, concert, or any live event, SeatGeek is the place to go. I actually got my tickets for week 1 against the New York Giants using SeatGeek, and honestly, I use it for all my event purchases. What I love about SeatGeek is how simple it is to find the best deals. They rate every seat on a scale from green to red. Green means you're getting a great deal. Red means it's a little overpriced. That way you know you're buying with confidence and getting your money's worth. Plus, they even offer protection ticket plans so you don't have to worry about your tickets getting lost or stolen. And the best part about it all is they're hooking y'all up with the code. Use juangotti at checkout and you'll get 10% off your first purchase. Again, use code juangotti at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase. It's always been Andrew Wiley. It's always been Nick Algretti. Shoot, even Trent Scott, who's primarily our backup tackle, even he was thought about, being in there, right? Even they brought up Fant, who's normally a tackle as well, but he has some history playing guard as well. Like we talked about everyone else but Chris Paul, and when he gets his opportunity, his real opportunity in the regular season, he took full advantage of it. And I get it, Juan. You're probably going to be like, Juan, it's the Raiders. Relax. Like, it's not nothing to be that happy about. The Raiders stink. But you don't know what this could do for a guy like Chris Paul. I mean, this is a guy that we didn't even know was going to make this roster. Right? Like, he was a late round pick. He's always been a depth piece the last few seasons. But nothing really making noise out of camp. You don't know what this can mean for this young fella. This could be the turning point of his career. Getting a first true opportunity. So what? He goes to being a backup again once Cosme comes back and they roll with Cosme and Wiley. Well, you know what he just earned? He earned himself another year to be a really, really good depth guy. So he no longer has to worry about being a roster bubble. He's going to always make this roster because he's going to be looked at, hey, we need that assurance. We need that in case anything happens to one of our starting guards. He can go out there and do it. And it's funny because watching the game back, he was mauling dudes in the pass protection. Allowing Marcus Mariota ample time. Even when, and shout out to Mariota too, even when the pocket kind of got a little bit clumsy, he was able to get the ball out of his hands. The offensive line was able to create throwing lanes for him. Man, they talked about how good this offensive line depth was, and it sure is getting tested by choice from Dan Quinn and AP. They took a risky change. Look, again, it's risky for me because Brandon Coleman was the guy that was supposed to come in and solidify that left guard spot and be that guy for us. And you make a change abruptly due to poor play. And now Chris Paul has to be thrusted into their last minute kind of. And he performed well. Hey, let me find out CP3. I call him CP3, obviously, Chris Paul, NBA. I call him CP. Let me find out CP3 really that. Let me find out he really that, man. That's all right, bro. That's all right. I say continue. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Until Cosby comes back, which we don't know exactly when he's going to come back. Maybe week 8, week 9, week 10, somewhere around there, because they said he's still not quite ready. Again, he tore his ACL in January, so that's no shocker. man, if he continues to perform like this, that's gonna be really interesting to see how they move, man. See how he move, especially in the pass protection. Now, run blocking, that's probably not his strong suit, right? So it's gonna be a little bit tough to run to his side. Maybe you try to primarily run to Wiley's side and whatnot. But pass protection, again, knowing your quarterback got sacked a lot of times, and the big reason why Jaden Daniels is hurt right now is because he got hit multiple times trying to deliver the ball. That's probably their main priority. Like, we gotta protect 5 when he gets back in there. So yeah, we may be taking a hit because Brandon Coleman's probably a better run blocker. He's probably better in space out on screens. But when we're talking about trying to protect 5 and protect our franchise guy, we need all the guys in there that's going to be able to pass protect their ass off. And clearly, Chris Paul's the best out of the bunch. So, shout out CP3, man. Hey! Washington took a risk on the change of offensive guards. Not one, but 2. Both sides. And it's paying off, man. Shout out CP3. We'll see how he continues to move forward. But let's talk about Darnell Savage. Merlin Turk, a guy that we know. Because if you've been around for years, you knew. But may God rest his soul. Jay Gruden wanted to draft Darnell Savage in 2019 with the 15th overall pick. Dan Snyder came down and forced him to draft Dwayne Haskins. But this is the guy Jay Gruden wanted to draft. Instead, we go to Dwayne Haskins and Darnell Savage goes to Green Bay. And this is a full circle moment for Darnell, right? He went to Merlin. He has a picture on his Instagram that he posted of him in a Redskin jersey, so I'm assuming he grew up a fan. And look, we need him, right? I don't know. He's been in the league 6-7 years, primarily with the Packers, had some time with Jacksonville. I don't know what he's going to bring for us at this point of his career. But what I know is we need him. We're banged up. With the injury to Will Hurst out for the year now with a fractured fibula, basically a broken leg, right? With the injury to Percy Butler hip, we don't know how serious that is. Obviously, with the DB depth being tested, with Jonathan Jones on IR, Trey with a calf, Sean with the concussion, but at least being evaluated. We don't know the severity of these injuries, but again, we're tested. We had Antonio Hamilton Sr. playing valuable snaps at cornerback for us. All-Pro Revo. Love Revo. Hopefully this is a way that he gets his more opportunities because he had a big play where he blew up a run. But it can't just be Revo as our last depth. Or actually, should I say, Revo may be thrusted into that starting role next to Quan now. Because now all you got really as depth is Tyler Owens. If Revo's having to be thrusted into that starting role. So that's why you go out and you get a Darnell Savage. A guy that has 7 years of experience. Was once one of the better safeties in the league. Very fast coming out of the draft. Now again, I say it's a risky move because you don't know what you're getting from him. And he may absolutely have to come in and play quality snaps for us. Because again, we're tested depth-wise at that position right now. But the risk is, what if he still has some left in the tank? So it's kind of risky for many reasons. You're low risk, high reward, but kind of risky because it's like, damn, you're not no good. We kind of wasted a signing, but at the end of the day, ain't like you're tied financially to him, you know? Now, doing a little bit of research here, he got released by the Jaguars not too recently. He says that they had injuries to our secondary, of course, as we know, and we kind of need a guy like Darnell Savage right now. The risk of getting him, after doing a little bit of research here, it says recent performance decline. The fit concerns Savage, once a high draft pick in the 2019 first round, had standout early seasons, but in recent years his coverage grades has not held up as much. They are noted issues. He's allowed multiple touchdowns in coverage, and his interception/impact plays has tapered down. And he recently just got released by the Jaguars, as we mentioned. He is a versatile player, so he can play a nickel. He can play both safety positions. He is very quick. And again, he has experience, 7 years in the NFL. And look, you're not a first-round pick for no reason. So, former first-round pick for a reason. Hopefully, we can get with the DB coaches here, and he blossoms. At least do something. You know what I mean? He could stabilize this secondary, give us some type of confidence to have somebody out there. But at the same time, again, I feel comfortable with Revo out there, though, if I'm being real with you. So maybe this is just more of a depth piece, you know, to kind of protect what we don't have anymore. And Revo gets that starting spot, which you having Darnell Savage out there allows you to have 2 backup safeties now in Tyler Owens and Darnell Savage. But I kind of feel like you're losing the value on special teams, though, of Revo. So maybe this is why they would go out and get Darnell Savage. Because think about it. Revo starts. Yeah, he could play special teams too. But that's however long the drive is. Hopefully we stall him out, make him get a 3 and out. And then he got to turn back around and play special teams. And he's an intricate part of special teams. So that's an interesting one to play and think about as well. But I like the signing. Look, low risk, high reward. But again, it's a risk nonetheless because you would love to have Will Harris out there, but obviously banged up, and now you got to go to streets and get Darnell Savage. I wonder why nobody's looking at Justin Simmons. That's interesting, but hey, welcome aboard, Darnell, and hopefully this risk pays out. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. As always, me boy Juan got him. If you like, comment, subscribe to the channel on the road to 12,000 subscribers. We greatly appreciate if you can reach that goal as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe. Be easy out there. Peace.
Ballin' like I'm Deshaun, throw the bomb, G. That's IG, my jersey never seen a laundry.